Hello, host players. It's Oaklawn Capping Hour. Welcome once again. My name is Steve Simonovich, again with my brother Marco, and we have a special guest for the Rebel card, none other than Jim Miller. Hawthorne Jim. How you doing, Jim?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me. It's a great card. Finally, good weather in Hot Springs, so that's a beautiful thing too. And I'll tell you, we're gearing up for a big meet at Hawthorne. Thoroughbreds are rolling in on the backside, so it's been busy times for us as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, Jim. We're Chicago guys. Marco moved down to Arkansas, but we have family in Hot Springs, and we've always had a very good relationship with Hawthorne racing. There is one of the first tracks I was ever at when I was a little kid. Contest play is second to none, and we'll dive into that in a little bit. But Jim, I heard you were cleaning the barns last week and getting ready for the meet.
I was cleaning the barns last week. It's one of those, we get done with a harness season on a Monday, and the following Saturday of that week, we were opening the backside for the thoroughbreds to come in. And kind of what that entailed was the cleaning out of 7 barns, the transition of laying down a thoroughbred surface on top of what was the harness surface, about 100 dorm rooms. So it's all hands on deck. So I pulled out the power washer, was in the barn area, power washing stalls and power washing barns and that to get them ready. But I'll tell you, you do that on a Thursday and there's thoroughbreds in there by Saturday. So it's one of those things where you have to move pretty quickly.
Yep. I wanted to segue. We like to talk about NHC play here. I was at the tournament at Villa Park over the weekend, and Mike Mulvihill, unbelievable 2 days he had. He turned $300 into almost $5,000 on Sunday and almost $5,000 on Saturday. He won both contests, and I haven't seen anything quite like that since maybe Dave Gutfriend had that big run a few years ago. So I thought that was like just amazing. I was in the same room, and he was kind of quiet in there, but you just knew he had something going. I don't know if I know you caught wind of it.
The cool thing about it with our contest play too, Steve, and you play in a lot of our contests is just the format. I think the format is something that is really important. An open bankroll format, a lot of tracks to select from, a lot of wagers to select from. It's definitely different from when you get to the NHC in Vegas because it's a much more structured format. And I know you've had more than your share of success there. And it's one of those things where I think it really does draw players to our contest. Not only are there a lot of seats that we give away throughout the course of the year, but having the ability to go to different locations. We do a lot of it at a lot of our OTB locations now. And it's one of those things where it's a comfort thing. You can get together with your buddies. And just like you mentioned, you started with $300. So if you're going into play anyway with $300, because you get to keep what you make, you can just go ahead and jump into the contest. And hey, if you have a good day, if you have a big day and get rolling, it's definitely worth going after. I think that's one of the beauties of our contest and why we do draw so well.
Yeah, I mean, no entry fee. You can play any track. I mean, you can make one bet for $300, and if that's good enough, great. Or you can make 50 bets.
Right.
So yeah, I did get we were talking to Dakota along with Frank, and we were talking about doing a pool party. You guys have about 5 dates that are scheduled, and it looks like the Simonoviches versus the Mustaris is going to happen. We just got to pick a date and make it happen. It's going to be tough to beat Frank, though.
Pool parties are
and
fun,
Justin
though,
for that matter.
They're a very qualified family in the handicapping world. But I'll tell you, I've done my share of pool parties. I've had some success in the past too. And the cool thing about those is people come in, it's $35. They get food, they get drink, they get in on the pool party, and then they get to talk to you guys and just talk through the process of what happens for the wagers throughout the course of the day. They're cheering along with you. And there's no huge expectations. If you have a good day, great. Everybody gets to make some money. If you have a day where you struggle a little bit, they still had a good time. They got something to eat. They got something to drink. They learned a little bit about handicapping too. And that's the reason we do these pool parties throughout the course of the year. We do them at different venues. But I like that. I like the Simonoviches against the Mustaris. That's going to be fun.
It will be fun. I also wanted to mention too, I don't know if you remember Barn to Wire. Long time ago,
Oh yeah.
You used to hold a private contest down there for all of us players out there. This was 15 years ago, and maybe even 20. I don't know. It was a while ago, but I used to remember I used to hold those, and I think you gave out a small cash prize for everybody, and I'll never forget those days on the old barn to wire. I haven't ventured on there too often lately, but maybe I'll get back on there and take a peek and see what's going on.
I like to have fun with the pre-race show, so we did a thing called Gym Versus, and that's exactly what it was. It was a very just casual setup, but I would bring a patron on, and it was people I'd met before, people I'd never met in my life before, and they would do the pre-race show with me, and you'd come on there, and we go mano a mano, handicap the entire card. If they won, they got $100. And if I won, they still got to be on air and have a great time. A lot of people I actually brought back, but I've met a lot of people over the course of the years who would just come out to the track time and again and say, hey, I want to try this. It looks like it's fun. Or I can beat you and that kind of stuff, which is great too. I love that. That's the beauty of pari-mutuel wagering, is that everybody's playing against one another. So it was one of those things. And actually, I think we're probably not too far away from kind of rekindling that and getting that started again.
Yeah.
So should be something that I'm looking forward to. I think I will have to have you on the air if we do it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I remember I did it once before and I had a lot of fun. We were
Yep.
talking about your Carthage days and Augie Schmidt and all that good stuff.
Yep.
So we'll have to rekindle that. Let's see, Marco. Oh, one thing. So racing starting. I know my dad, he has several horses. He's thinking about sending a few up there. So my brother Danny got his trainer's license and he's thinking about getting some stalls. He just got it. So lots to talk about, and I'll talk to you off air about that too. Okay, Marco, weather report in Hot Springs. We already touched on it. Sunny. It looks like 70 degrees. We're going to be good.
The last bit of rain, I mean, it just happened. Just got it wet just a little bit for like 20, 30 minutes. And that cloud is gone already. It came in, rain for 30 minutes, and it's gone. And it's going to be sunshine and dry for tomorrow, Saturday. It's going to be beautiful day for racing.
All right, perfect. That's what I saw too. And it'll be a nice little change of pace and finally some sunny weather and dry weather. For the year, Marco, you've been kind of like trying to dig into that negative 161. I've had a killer year, plus 233. Now, Jim, this is a
big numbers, man. Nice job.
Yeah, this is a $2 win place. So we subtract if it was like 10 races, we take $40 off right off the bat, and then we add it back. And I've been doing good. So I have to pat myself on the back, but I'm not going to get too cocky. Marco, I always say you're one or two horses away, a capper away from, knocking off $80. So
this is what happens when you run second and third a lot. You just can never get that good win payout. And then a couple bad days. Well, there you go.
Yeah, you can't have a bad day.
Like you say, a couple good hits, and you're in. Nice 30 to 40 to one shot.
Okay, so after we got all that out of the way, let's dive into some racing, guys. The first race is a doozy. It's a three-year-old colts going 2 turns. This is an optional claiming 100,000, other than for $150,000. And it looks like Marco and Jim land on the same horse, and that is none other than Imperial Gun for Steve Asmussen. Jim, do you want to start off with that one?
Sure. Real quick, Marco, it's awesome that you're out there so you can give the weather report. My best friend in the whole wide world is Nancy Holthus. So we've been friends for over 30 years. She's the paddock analyst there. But we started in racing together when we were 18, but we talk almost daily. So I talked to her, asked her kind of what they are expecting for conditions. She said the biggest thing to expect, she said they're going to roll the track very tightly on Saturday morning because of the weather and because it's supposed to be warmer. They're going to put a lot of water on the track. She said they're expecting that's likely going to tend to lead to a lot of speed, especially early in the day. Maybe it evens out a little bit later in the day, but she expects that track to be rolled very tightly and to be very fast. So something to prepare for early on in the day. It's part of the reason I'm on Imperial Gun here in the opener. Just speed around 2 turns, lightly raced horse, but this is a horse that went out there, handled things really well in that last out. the thing that I find really interesting, Tyler Gaffleone's in town. He jumps right up on this, and that's the thing. Steve Asmussen's not bringing him into town if he's not going to go out there and ride horses that he's going to win on. You're not making that trip for no reason at all. He jumps on this one. Lasix for the first time as well, too. Imperial Gun's probably going to provide no value at all, but hey, I think it kicks off a winner and starts the day the right way.
I agree with you on that. I think this horse is a future stakes winner. And you know what's funny? On his very first start out here, I was at the track, and I was actually going to bet Michael Licious in that race, and he won at 20-1. Okay, I saw this horse on the track, and I changed my mind because he looks the part up close and personal, big beautiful animal, and I just think he's just going to go right away, right to the front, and I think it's going to be kind of an easier race for him. So,
okay. Well, I like your guy. I like that pick. I picked it second. I think it's going to be the one to beat. I actually landed on the 6 Footprint. It was none other than a trip note. It got completely smashed out of the gate and had a very eventful trip, to say the least. I think the race does set up if it gets a little spicy up there, and I think the 6 or the 4 are. If you're going to play a pick 5, I would just go that far and not any further. I see you guys like the 2 and you like the 5, but take a good peek at that last replay with Footprint. I think you might be wanting to circle him. And he ran against Track Phantom, who just missed in the Risen Star last weekend. Didn't disgrace himself with a 4th place finish that day behind Nash as well. All right. Anything to add with your runner-ups, the 2 and the 5?
Go ahead, Marco.
I'm just thinking if it goes way fast and then kind of falls apart, I think Michael Licious can benefit from like tired horses. This field, they're all just only sitting on the one maiden win, so it's not like it's the toughest group. I don't think so. And this horse has a win at Oaklawn, so we'll see what happens.
And Jim, what you like on the 5?
Seeds the great, just the fact that they thought enough of this horse. I think that it was a stakes quality horse early on in its career throughout the course of its 2-year-old season. The horse ran fairly well. Breeding suggests 2 turns. I don't like the layoff. I thought maybe this was a horse that could kind of pick things up underneath, just kind of in a stalking style of trip. But I think it's going to be tough for Seeds the Great to win.
Okay, well, good underneath play nonetheless if you're playing trifectas and supers out there. We'll move on to the next race. It's a 3-year-old, straight 3-year-olds going 3/4, and it's a maiden special weight for $120,000. I land on the 6. Actually, me and Jim both land on the 6, and I'll start off with the 6. I just like the post better this time for Mo El Grande. It's an Uncle Mo, and it's working beautifully. Had a nice breeze out of the gate, 2 back, a bullet. 48-1, and Randy Morris, brings on Christian Torres for this, and not much to look at, obviously, but I didn't like the also Rans, and I wanted to try and beat Coach Jimmy D, so I was like, why not? Let's throw Mo El Grande. I'm hoping because he's an Uncle Mo, he's not going to be a turfer. We're running on dirt, obviously, here at Oaklawn, but 5-1's a square price for an animal that has a sensational work tap. Marco, you landed on my backup as your top pick, number 12, Rocky Top Mischief.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of data out there yet with these guys, obviously. But, the N2 Mischiefs, they're all spring clips at 15% first timers. I actually don't mind the outside post. When you're working with younger horses like this, maybe he can get a cleaner trip. And some of them, there's a lot of firsters and youngsters in here. Horse is working good. Diodoro is 18% in maiden special weight races. So, and the reason why I took this horse over to 6, your guys' actually pick, I just like the odds a little bit better. So let me see if I can pop one.
Okay, Jim, did you want to piggyback on our 6 and mention something?
The thing, and the one thing, the only reason I stayed away from Rocky Top Mischief was the couple of gate drills were okay. I usually from the gate, I want to see like what we saw for the bullet drill on February 8th out of Mo El Grande. I just worry with Rocky Top Mischief a little bit. Do you get away a step slowly from the outside just because the gate drills were okay, but not fantastic. At the same time, one of the benefits, though, from being in the 12 hole is your last one in, first one out when the gate springs. So you're not standing in the gate forever, especially as a first timer. So that's something that's beneficial. Molo Grande, I like the work pattern. I like that they came off that little break there when they kind of had that training break with weather and everything too. And you pop some solid works coming into the spot. Like you mentioned, Steve, it's a good post draw here. If we can get the 5-1, it's worth it. Run Jalen Run at 7-2. It's a lot of close but no cigar type of races. So I think the horse will be bet down again, but I'd be willing to try to beat it.
Yeah, the five has a lot of recency, a lot of races under its belt, good foundation, and a lot of people like that second blinkers angle. So at 7-2, though, yeah, do you really want to throw it on top? But it's probably going to run big. Mr. Phillip was a pretty good, has done well at the meet too. So that was a good second last time. All right, let's move on to race 3. And it looks like me and Marco on the same horse this time. This is another maiden special weight, and this is for 3-year-old fillies at the same distance. And I landed on the 2, the Havana here. And I think the main thing that I was looking at here, and Marco, you probably noticed it, Serengeti Express is a half sister to this one. And it has a really good work tab coming in. That bullet out of the gate kind of says it's probably ready from the inside. And I was like at 12-1, I'm going to want to take a stab with it. Motown Dynamic, a worthy favorite off of that debut effort. Did nothing wrong against Stakes Company there. Lost by a head with a nice big number. It's super fast, and it's going to be tough to probably run down. But I wanted to take a chance with the firster that's got a really nice sibling and is working great and has a great price. Marco, what did you feel?
You pretty much just took all my words and said them for me. So, yeah, that the sibling, she gives up, obviously the experience because she's a first timer. But yeah, 12-1, good works. So that's why we land on it. And like Motown Dynamic, definitely favor worthy. So she should have more stamina this time around too. So I mean, if Motown Dynamic wins, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right. Jim, you got Motown as your backup. Tell us about the 5, Bang Bang Fury.
Yeah, Bang Bang Fury, it's one of those things where you're going to see West Omaha a little bit later on in this card, and this is a horse that beat Bang Bang Fury Churchill Downs last November. And Bang Bang Fury was the favorite that day, was a 9-5 favorite. Ran okay, just kind of chased the pace and finished in 4th. Last out in the mud. It was a sealed track. I mean, they called it muddy. I don't know how muddy it was. It may have been even more along the lines of good. But when you get between muddy and good, it can sometimes become a little bit of a laboring surface too. But Bang Bang Fury out of that race made a strong move, got within a neck of the leaders in the lane before fading just a little bit late. I tend to wonder with adding Lasix for this spot if the horse bled in that race. And that's the reason that now you're coming back here, first Lasix into this race. A nice workout pattern towards the return. 7-2 is a decent price. Francisco Arrieta is a very good rider. He had one meet at Hawthorne. He was the best jock on the grounds when he was there, but he is a very solid rider. And I'm just hoping, I think you can get that 7-2 because Cruise Missile is going to take some action with first Lasix as well. That horse probably will be the favorite, but I think Bang Bang Fury, especially coming out of a race where the winner and Midshipman's Dream came right on back and our Midshipman's Dance came right on back and won that next out. I think this is a horse that's probably sitting on a pretty good performance.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. That one does look live. Midshipman's Dances in the stake later on the card, and or is that Friday? I got a yeah, it is later on in this card. Yeah,
it's Saturday.
Yeah, so really good company lines, and making your 3-year-old debut makes a lot of sense, especially with the foundation built underneath it. So I think we got all our bases covered pretty well on that race. Race 4 is a non-winners one event going 6 furlongs for 4-year-olds and up. So I landed on the same horse as you, Jim. Why don't you start us off with Gunflash? Because I have a trip note.
Full field, tons of speed. It's a fall apart type of race for me. And here's the thing. Look at Gunflash's last 2 starts. Yeah, the 10-hole and the 11-hole outside draws, wide the entire turn and beat both of those races. The race 2 back, I think, was coming on a little bit more strongly, but It's a little bit of a sneaky run in line, even in that last out, because I thought the horse was full of run late in that spot too, even despite a 7th place effort. You come off the layoff, you get an inside draw here, and again, I think they're winging it towards the front. There could be a wall of 6 horses at the quarter pole there, and this is a horse that could just tuck in right behind and come running through. And I do think you're going to get the price. So if you can get 4-1, it might be worth it with Gun Flash.
Yeah, it ran poorly on the slop at Ellis, and it really didn't get going in that January 5th race until it was too late. I think a faster strip is also going to serve it well. That was one of the notes, along with those outside draws that I had. So I'm excited about Gun Flash. 4-1 is pretty square, and I'll take $10 on it. On the outside, I landed on the 11 as my backup. Favorite Outlaw, only because I remember when I had Carl Broberg on, he really liked this horse. Something went wrong that day, and they bring it back here protected, and I'm thinking it's probably doing well, and it worked well. Actually, that was an old work, my bad, but we'll see if Favorite Outlaw runs a better race. Your backup, Jim, was WW Scout's Honor with Scott Becker.
Local horse, so I know enough about the horse, and the one thing I do know about WW Scout's Honor, he doesn't have to have the lead to win. So from the outside draw, I think this is a horse that just tucks in right behind, has some back class, might be moving forwardly in the lane. Again, Arrieta, you're going to get a price. Becker has not had a good meet, though, so that's one of the things that's a little concerning. But still, I think you get every bit of the 10-1, probably a little bit more.
Yeah, I keep saying it, and Marco knows from previous shows, Scott Becker's too good of a trainer to not have a win, and it's just a matter of time before he cracks one. Yep. Marco, you like our 2, but you picked a 3 on top. Late Night Radio, Boyd Castor is the trainer.
Yeah, sometimes you got to be on that bomb at Oaklawn, and I'm winging them basically Saturday. I want to see if I could just really get into that ROI. This pace is going to be wicked hot, I think. There's a bunch of them that are going to go right to the front, and I don't know who's going to make it. The harder they try, the softer it is going to be for like a horse like Late Night Radio or Gun Flash. I think they're going to get a similar, trips. But I like the odds, and Late Night Radio is cutting back to a sprint after routing a few times and going to be using the closing tactic. He's later raced, than all of them in here. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm going to get every bit of that 20-1, maybe higher.
Yeah, I do. It looks like an interesting play just because it's coming in with a beautiful work tab. If you look at that race on April 24th, it's probably going to have a similar running style to that. It won that day. And, you're right. The price is going to be bombs away. And if you could if you work out a trip, and if it's spicy, it's one cutting back that might be able to make a run. Now, Ramon Vasquez is going to have to it's been showing speed routing, so he's going to have to get back to the way it ran when it broke its maiden. So
that's what I'm hoping for. If not, if this thing tries to go to the front, and goodbye, it's going to finish probably last.
Okay. Race 5, and I don't know if you knew this or not, Jim, but race 5 is a family horse, and I just wanted to touch on one thing here. I'll share the screen real quick. I wanted to show you a replay here of Catholic Sue, and I'll just get to the meat of the race here.
Smiling holds the inside spot.
Catholic Sue is
and Halo kicks onto a length and
gonna lunk up for fourth here.
From second, Happy and Smiling inside of her. A space of
and she's towards the back right now.
What number is she in here for everybody?
Catholic Sue is, I believe, the
turn, where she's not
8, right?
Clear. Safe Cracker Sue.
I believe
Catholic Sue and Intrusion as they round the far turn. Bet Halo has 5/16 to go, leads by 2. Happy and Smiling cutting into the leading margin. Spiritual Lady being asked to go now as they hit the quarter pole. Wise missing 4-3 behind. The others have got to pick it up as they come down the lane. Bet Halo.
So she's back there with Safe Cracker Sue on the outside.
Passed by Spiritual Lady and Happy and Smiling.
Way back there, yep.
And she'll come up and finish fourth here.
Smiling is right there battling too. Here's Wise Miss and Eduardo Gallardo on the scene. Wise Miss, Spiritual Lady, Happy and Smiling. Those three across the track. Wise Miss, grandstand side. Happy and Smiling inside, battling too. Happy and Smiling.
And there
on the
she is.
inside.
And we'll notice the gallop
Wise
out.
Miss to win it with Spiritual Lady third and Catholic Sue flying late for fourth.
And here she is galloping out. Now, I do want to mention that I was there live that day, and Joseph Belmer got off the horse. He was actually shaking, and he's like, run her 2 turns, she's going to win. Run her 2 turns, and she's going to win. And by design, we sprinted her twice, and we're gonna definitely run her 2. We're definitely running 2 turns. So our theory is that she's probably going to appreciate the distance. And let me get rid of this. My bad, guys. I'm just still learning how to work all this. All right, there you go. Anyway, Joseph Belmer was very excited. He said, run her 2 turns and she's going to win. Now, he didn't say what level, but we're running in maiden specials. I'm going to give her a crack. She's 30-1. She's going to go off shorter than Safecracker Sue, the stablemate. And, we took the hood off her last time, and she showed a lot more interest. Didn't really fight the jockey, and we're hoping that the route of ground helps her out. And at 30-1, it's bombs away. Even if she runs second, I'll probably get $25 to place. So that was my thinking there. Marco, what do you know? I know you're going to pick her as well because we're going to try and cash a huge ticket here.
Well, she looks the part. I mean, she is a big, just strong-looking animal. She's a little tense. Yeah, a little tense. Crazy pre-race. She don't like the Oaklawn paddock. It's confined in there, and she does not like it. I know they've been schooling her more and more, but she does not like it in there. And just once she gets in there, she's a different, horse. And then she gets out, and then it's fine. I just don't want her to be too hyperactive in there and jumping around. I mean, she rears up. She's a basket case inside that paddock. Way different on the track. And after that, you saw the replay. I mean, she's just striding good. And Belmer just worked her recently, and he said it's the smoothest horse he's ever ridden. So take that for you want. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a bug. He's a bug, and he's excited about it. And
is he just saying that to say that, or is it really the truth? We never, you don't know. But she looks the part, and she's going to win. And I hope it's this race in a nice big race, big purse, big odds.
Yeah. My backup was Off the Lamb. I have a Trip No Unfair Start sandwiched, and had no chance. So I'm hoping that one gets a fair shake this time. This race is kind of wide open. I was thinking about the 3. Obviously you have a Brad Cox running here. That's going to be tough. So I didn't know exactly where to go. Jim, I see you landed on the Brad Cox runner, who looks awfully tough if it can run back to that race 2 back.
I'm going against 2 house horses here. I mean, come on. This is something that's going to be a little bit tougher for me with you guys in this stuff. Hey, I'll tell you this, though. Talking about Catholic Sue, if your trainer's smart, talking about what you just mentioned with the paddock, he's going to make sure this is the last horse to walk into the paddock. So stand at the gap, wait for everybody to walk on by, be the last one to walk in there out of that field of 11. So you're in there the shortest time possible. The beauty about Catholic Sue, too, if Bang Bang Fury, who you guys raced against in the start, that debut race, comes back and runs well, it's definitely going to flatter your chances, too.
Yeah.
Typically, sprinters stretching out the 2 turns are going to show a little bit more speed as well, and that's going to benefit you in this race because there really isn't a whole lot of pace. I mean, you have a lot of horses that have already run 2 turns that haven't shown a whole lot around 2 turns. It's the reason I ended up on Enigmatic. I mean, you're not going to get any price here. The horse will be 8-5 or 9-5, but you look at the 3 starts: 11 hole and showed speed in the debut, 12 hole in that last out, got away a step slowly, made a little bit of a move but flattened out. You're coming here today, it's a little bit better post draw. I think they're just full send. Christian Torres will be on the gas from the get-go, and I think the horse clears and tries to settle. I think what their concern might actually be one of your horses, either Safecracker Sue or Catholic Sue, because if they get away in good order and go out there and challenge this horse, it could be a little bit of a horse race, and they could possibly even run 1-2 the whole way around. So I'll be curious to see how things unfold, because there's not a whole lot of pace. But yeah, I think Enigmatic is probably the best racehorse in the race from what we've seen thus far, and we'll just have to see if the horse can get out there and clear and just kind of settle on the front end.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the 3 might show a little bit more speed stretching out. The debut is good if you want to throw out the synthetic race. The 8, they had the blinkers on the first 2 races. They're putting them back on. It showed a lot of zip in that debut, and it pressed the pace 2 back. The blinkers off last time was just a disaster. So now they put them back on. So yeah, I would expect that, Christian Torres would send this one. And obviously it's a Brad Cox runner. It's going to be awfully tough to beat in this spot, but let's hope the family horses hit the board.
I'm cheering for you guys.
Yeah, of course you are. All right.
Hey, one other thing to touch, Steve, with the 3 in that race with Tap to Champagne, that last start out, that's a key race. I mean, there are a lot of horses that came back and either won or ran well in their next start out. So Tap to Champagne is coming out of a very solid race in that last out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Duly noted on that. Let's head over to race 6. And that last race closed out the early pick 5. Race 6 is a allowance race, $150,000. These are for 4-year-olds and up, going a mile. And of course, at Hot Springs at Oaklawn Park, it's a short stretch, first finish line. And Jim, you landed on the 7. Why don't you tell us a little? We're all different here. Tell us about the Pledge of Allegiance.
12-1 short stretch race. Again, just with expecting speed, and especially with the short stretch, it's a little bit harder to make up some ground there. Pledge of Allegiance should get back to that start 2 back. That December 29th race, I thought was a pretty solid performance. Horse went out there, battled every step of the way, and really never caught a breather in that spot, but battled all the way to the wire, just beating a nose on the wire. I think that last out, you can probably put a little bit of a line through, just racing in the mud. You come back here, fast track return is going to be the key, with the expectation that it's going to be a speed track. I do think this is a horse that may not even have to be pushed on the front end. I think this is a horse that could clear on the front end and get comfortable, and I would love to get 12-1, although I think there's absolutely no chance you're going to get anywhere close to 12-1.
Yeah, okay. I landed on the 3 here. I thought I was wide in the last. I have a strong work tab going. And I was like, you know what? We talked about Becker, and I believe that this is the one that's going to get us off the schneid here. We're gonna pop a big one here. We got a better, hopefully we'll get a better trip, and 15-1. I like it here. I just feel like this one's coming into this race. Those last 2 drills say, he's ready, and I hope Scott's not pressing, because I think he's going to just win some in bunches here once he starts winning. And he had a couple last week that just missed. So I'm hoping Megan's Honor can win for us here at 15-1 more tonight. Marco, you're on the 6, and we're both on the 9 as our backup. Why don't you talk about the 6 and then segue into the 9?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to say the name. Poulter, something like that. Poulter ran a good second off the shelf last out. Actually earned a career best on the Beyer speed figures. I think he's going to be a little bit more in shape this time around. Getting the second time out. He's a versatile horse, so he can handle different types of trips. He can, use some speed, be tactical. 3-time winner at Oaklawn, and 3 out of the 4 wins are at today's distance. So he likes the track, likes the distance. He's going to be tighter. And I think this is a race where he can definitely win it at 10-1. And Chrome Baby, my backup, on a fast track at today's distance is where he's done his best racing. It's going to be a beautiful day, as we talked about earlier, 70s and sunny. So fast track, that's what you want. Last couple of outs are real ugly. Probably lost a lot of backers in those 2 races, which is why we're 20-1 today. The 2-back race was a stake. He didn't have Lasix, so I kind of was like, all right, whatever. And if this was like a cheap claimer race, I would feel a lot differently about this. about this horse and those runs, but Von Hemmel hasn't given up on him, and I'm going to give him another shot too.
Yeah, off the step slow, probably wasn't grabbing footing. I mean, the two mud races were a disaster, and you're right, getting back on fast should help it out. And Jim, the Cosmo was your backup 5-2, makes all the sense in the world there, making its 2024 debut.
Yeah, I wish it was a little bit better price. I think the horse should run well. It's been a nice progression for races. I like the fact that they've gotten to Oaklawn Park and gotten consistent workout pattern lead in the spot. It hasn't been a rush to try to get into a race a little bit earlier. They're getting to the horse to the point where they're ready to run. Diodoro has the ability to take his time with those horses too. And I think this is a horse that's spotted well. Again, I wish if you're looking 7-2, 4-1, maybe it's not worth using. But if the horse takes a little bit too much action, then I might stay away.
Okay, duly noted there. Our next race, Jim, is a beaut. It's these are Arkansas maiden special weighters, fillies, 3-year-olds and up. Marco, you know a little bit about some of the farms down there. We both like the 11. I actually picked the 11 on top, and it's Queen Mallard. Just Ron Moquette, Asmussen, Kyle. Is it Kyle Asmussen? I always get his first name.
Keith Asmussen.
Keith Asmussen.
Keith Asmussen. Yep.
Keith Asmussen. My bad. So anyway, Queen Mallard. It's a 1/2 that we really know well. 110 Stadium. It's a nice little Arkansas bred down there, and I just like the outside post as opposed to some of these nice ones that might be breaking out of the 1 or 2 hole, and see some things develop out there. And that's just a hunch. I mean, what are we looking at here? The work tab is sufficient, and I liked, the half brother. So I'm like, why not? Let's go on that one at 10-1. Marco, the 7 is your top pick. Aloha Baby. It sounds familiar. Didn't we play this before?
You may have. I don't remember having this one. Maybe I did. I don't remember if you did. There's been so many.
It ran terrible at 4-1 last time.
Yeah, he just didn't want to run. It was the first off the since last spring. And this looks like one of them Arkansas horses where they stay in Arkansas. They don't go anywhere. They just run here and that's it. But got a good work since that last race. And, this is like one of the only horses that actually has a couple of races under its belt. And I like that. And, the other 2 races before that flop, last year weren't, all that bad. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and get the second out here. And, you're taking the hood off. I'm going to see if that can maybe wake him up a little bit. And again, 20-1, I'm trying to get into the ROI.
Yeah, I got you. Jim, Lenny May, the 3 with Louis Quinones.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you look at a race like this and a horse like this. I mean, now you're starting to see Arkansas breds trained by Brad Cox. You're seeing the Ron Moquettes. You're seeing the Von Hemmels. This horse on debut for trainer Ernie Witt was sent away as the 8-5 favorite. And it was the 8-5 favorite from the 11 hole. And when you watch the replay, you can almost see the point in the race where the horse starts to have the effects from bleeding in the race occur. Because Lenny May is in a perfect position the entire way around, ranges up on the turn, and the jock is under absolute cruise control. The horse is in hand, not asking anything. The horse looks like it's just going to roll right on by at the top of the stretch. And then all of a sudden, the horse flattens out, and you can just see kind of where everything gets affected for the racehorse there. You're coming back with Lasix into this spot. You're not asking too much of the horse from the work tab. You're just kind of easing back in where the works are decent coming into this race. And again, guys, this is the beauty of massive purses in Arkansas, especially with even Arkansas bred horses. You can take your time, find your spot. You win this race, the horse is paid for the year. So it's one of those things where they take their time, space it out the right way. It's a huge pot, $120,000 pot. It would be different if you're running for $23,000. This is a stake race, basically, when you're running anything at Oaklawn Park. So that's the cool thing about it. But I think Lenny May is sitting in a perfect position here. I think the horse is going to run huge. If we had a best bet, this would actually be my best bet of the day, Steve.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I picked it second, and it'll be on whatever doubles I might have. Unfortunately, I don't think we have any long horizontal wagers with this. Is it what race is it? Oh no, yeah, no, we don't because we got the late pick 5 starting in race 8.
Yeah, you just got to pick 3. Right.
Yeah,
That's
so I'll probably maybe do a pick 3, but I'll probably do some doubles. But yeah, Lenny May makes a ton of sense, and no coincidences came back and dominated by 4 lengths in its next start too. So nice company line in there. And then the 4 was your backup Holland Ice. It's 5-2. Speed Fade ran a really good race. These two look like they're primed to go maybe 1-2 all the way around the track.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. And I think Holland Ice is actually going to be out there winging it. I just hope these two don't hook up. And that's the one concern, especially when you watch a card like this, because I am expecting a lot of speed early in the day. Jocks are going to watch the signal just like anybody else, and they're going to think they just have to go. And if that's the case, you don't want them to just push each other through just a suicidal half and then fall out of there. So we'll see. As long as these two don't hook up, they do have the potential to go 1-2 the whole way around.
All right. Very good. I love that. So everybody pay attention to that one. All right, let's move into some stakes action. This is going to start our late pick 5. The carousel is for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, $150,000, and it's going 6 furlongs. And Jim, me and you land on the same horse. I'll start us off. Let's be clear. You have it's probably not an obvious first or second choice in this race, but Cipriano Contreras knows what he's doing. He's winning a lot of races over there, and I thought the race might set up for this horse. We're getting fast dirt. We're going to have some targets to run at, and Elva Star last time was a really good company line. That horse ran off the screen that day, and we didn't embarrass ourselves. So I'm feeling like, getting on a fast strip and having some targets to run at, because I think there's a little bit of zip in here. I think Let's Be Clear is a sneaky horse at 8-1, especially with these connections. And I want to say that Cipriano or his family or somebody owns a piece of this horse, because you have Contreras Stable Inc. as part of the ownership group there. Jim, how did you feel about it?
I love Cipriano Contreras as a trainer. I've known Cipriano for 20 plus years. He was a longtime assistant to Mike Rivas. He was a valet in the Hawthorne Jocks room. He was the one guy that would sit there and go out in the paddock and watch every horse walking around the paddock before every race. And just visually, he could tell you who was going to run well that day, who wasn't going to run well that day. And it transitioned nicely into him as a trainer. But when you're coming over to Oaklawn Park and you're winning at this kind of a rate, it's not an easy meet. You guys know that. And he's winning at over 25% clip. But I like the way that this horse is placed here. I'm with you. I think there's enough pace, a lot of the pace to the outside. The big thing, too, when you go to stakes races, I mean, you look, the outside 6 horses all have to come off Lasix for this, so you don't know how that's going to affect all of them. Some may run better than others. Some it may not affect at all, but it is something to at least keep an eye on. Let's Be Clear. Like you mentioned, I thought it was a solid running line in that last out, and the horse came off Lasix for that. So I just think the horse is sitting on a good trip here, and I do think you'll get that 8-1.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And I love hearing that stuff about Cipriano. I didn't know some of that stuff, so that's really good. Marco, my backup was your top pick. You went with Zeit. How do you say that? Zeitlos?
Looks like Zeitlos.
I forgot how to pronounce it, but it's an Asmussen runner at Tyler Gaffleone. It's 7-5. You're just going with the chalk here, huh?
Going with the chalk because this is the first stakes of the day, and Asmussen at Oaklawn. I mean, he knows he wins, okay, but this horse has not had a bad race yet, and don't count the debut. I mean, Manny Franco fell off the horse, so that don't count.
Yeah,
but it's been all business since then. I think you're going to sit about a length or 2 off, and you're going to just pounce in the stretch. I think she's ready for another big performance today. 100%. Geez, got a little technical difficulty on my internet, but yeah, there's no imagination. I just think this one's ready to roll.
All right, and then you went with Dio.
Hey, quick question there. Yeah, quick question, Marco. Are they saddling every stake in the infield or just the major stakes?
You know what? I actually do not know that.
Okay. So it's just something. It's something to keep an eye on, because Asmussen is one of the guys at Oaklawn who is very good about schooling his horses to be saddled in the infield there. So you'll notice with him after workouts in mornings, you'll see the track will get cleared. They'll work the track, and then all of a sudden, like an hour after, Steve Asmussen will have a brigade of horses that are stakes horses that they'll walk into the infield. They'll go through the whole saddling procedure there because it is just different surroundings. And I think that's something that gives them a little bit of an advantage. And he's almost always personally handling the horses and going through the whole process on his own. So I'll just be curious to see if this is something that if they are saddling in the infield, I think it is going to give them a little bit of a benefit also.
Yeah, I will say, Jim,
it makes sense. Though. Well, I mean, it's going to be packed in there too.
Yeah, we had a horse. Yeah. We had a horse running. I had the wrong date on our thing here, so I'll fix that. But we had a horse running a stake race, an Arkansas bred stake race, and we saddle outside for that. And that was like 5 years ago.
Okay.
And it's going to be so nice out. I would imagine that. I would imagine that all of them would be saddled outside.
I would think so. I mean, you want to showcase that a little bit differently, but it's definitely a different surrounding because there's no stall at all. I mean, you're right out there in the wide open. So something to definitely keep an eye on. But Asmussen does do a fantastic job schooling his horses just in preparation for any of these races too.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the 9th race. It's the Honeybee. It's a grade 3. It's for 3-year-old fillies. And this is a prep for the Fantasy, which would be a prep for the Kentucky Oaks. So some graded earnings here for the Kentucky Oaks. And I landed – who did I land on here? I landed on the 8. We all are a little bit different here. The 8 horse is Tappet Janalee. Now, I picked this horse last time. And I have a little bit of a trip note here. It broke from the 1 hole that day in the slop. It had a slight bobble, and it just looked kind of uncomfortable down there. It had to work to get the lead that day. The thing is, it doesn't need the lead. That's the thing. And it looks like another race that has some pace in it. I would like to see this runner relax a little bit from that 8 hole and let those targets go. It stretched out last time. From the previous, in its 2 first races, it was 1 turn. It was able to get off run from off the pace and dominate by 7 and 5. So it showed more natural speed in the last race. But I would like to see it, just sit off a little bit and look at those targets and get that fast strip and maybe run more like its debut, except going around the 2 turns. It's a Tappet, and Esquivel is more than capable. It's interesting to see him ride the horse for the first time, but I like him as a jock. And at 10-1, I want to come back to this one just because visually I didn't like the way she got off and was running in that Martha Washington. Jim, you landed on the 6, West Omaha, who we touched about earlier, who's very classy and is definitely going to be the one to beat.
I mean, again, the Bang Bang Fury race earlier in the day, I'm excited about that race because so many others tie in. Here's the thing. I mean, Brad Cox could have run this horse at Fairgrounds, but you're coming here for 400,000 and you're coming here for a reason. It's to win. So this is somewhere it's a solid racehorse, hasn't really done anything wrong. 4 starts, 4 times first or second. I think they're sitting on a big performance. I think West Omaha is going to run huge here, won't provide any value. I think it's going to be very, very hard to beat this horse.
Yeah, I agree. I threw underneath and, wasn't going to toss her off my...
There's no value. Yeah, there's no value.
Yeah. Marco, you're going to try and beat that one with In Just My Heels at 20-1 with Ron Moquette and Rafael Bejarano.
Yeah, this horse showed, every race improvement. And then you got the Lasix last time out and second time blinkers. I don't know which one woke it up, but it woke up. He just ran faster and further last. He took him all the way around. I'm hoping like she can get her best race Saturday for the Honeybee. The last out was on fast dirt at this distance as well, and this is the only horse in this field that has that win at this distance on fast dirt as well. Everything else has been, maybe at the distance, but in the slop, so that's all already proven. And I'm just going to see if, give me, one good more run here, 20-1.
And then you took an Asmussen runner as your backup with Gaffleon, Neome Beach.
Yeah, that's another one that could be kind of forwardly placed and hang on at the end, and also has this distance down. And it's an Asmussen runner, 8-1. I think this horse fits in this race as well. But yeah, we got to beat Jim's pick. That's the one to beat. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to beat anyway.
And Jim, you also followed up with that one as your backup.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect stalking trip. Just tucks in right behind the pace, chases the whole way around. And if you get 8-1, I'm definitely going to use the horse underneath in my gimmicks for sure. I think the horse should be right there the entire way. And just kind of a model of consistency. Always seems to kind of run that same race every time out. So they're going to step up again, but the horse has been in stakes company the last couple and held its own.
Okay, very good. The next race is the 10th race. It's the Grade 3 Razorback, $600,000. It's the precursor for the Oaklawn handicap. And this is for 4-year-olds and up, going 1 mile and a 16th. And I land on the far outside horse here, number 13. I think it was Bolsey. Let me look. Bolsey. Yep. So Bolsey is just kind of like it was a lightly raced. It started its career as a 4-year-old, so it didn't run at 2, didn't run at 3. A little bit of a late bloomer. Now it's 5, and this last race it really woke it up. It won with ease. It galloped out strong. It comes back with a really good set of drills, including a nice bullet move, 47 and change, 1 out of 73, and this one just might be a horse for course on top of its game type animal right now. It definitely needed the debut, so I'll draw a line through that. But that last race was so impressive. If I could work out a trip from this 13 hole, the way that it's working, and with that price, I feel like I could, do some shock therapy here and blow up the tote board, $25, $35 horse here. And, if I can run anything close to that last race, it smokes Sun Thunder, who some think might be able to clunk up and win, this weekend. So we'll see if Bolsey's gonna get the job done from that far outside post. And then for my backup, I went all the way to the rail with Seize the Night. Christian Torres is on it. Seize the Night. It just made sense to me, just on pure numbers and getting back to a fast strip, and I like the way it ran August 13th in a stake down there. It's got 4 wins. It's 2 for its last 11, but I don't know. I just felt like it somewhat of a live horse, and I like that Christian Torres comes back to it, especially after that really nice run that it had as the lukewarm beaten favorite last time. Jim, you landed on the 8 is your top pick. Magic Tap with Steve Asmussen.
And Marco, I hate to let you know, but we're going to have the same top pick because Ain't Life Grand is scratching in that spot, and I believe they're running Sunday. So
okay.
You know what?
Something new. That's something that Nancy told me.
That's even better because I actually was kind of looking at her again, and I actually like Magic Tap a little bit better after re-looking at this better.
Good. Wait, we're in agreement. We're on a winner here.
I'm just re-looking at this right now, and I'm just there's a couple things I wasn't thrilled about, and there's a lot of things going against Ain't Life Grand. So it's a blessing in disguise. So let's all right, tell us about them.
All right, so but I think I want to say there might be an allowance race on Sunday that Ain't Life Grand is in, but I think that's the spot they chose over this spot. So just something to keep an eye on for you guys down there. Magic Tap, think about it. I mean, Gaffleon again is in to ride. Steve's going to this one despite the fact that his kid won on it in the last out. So that's the thing. It's like, hey, we're in here to win. It's a $600,000 race. You're going to the rider that has been a fit for this horse in the past. Running style, I think, is perfect. I think there's a good amount of pace in this race, and this is a horse that tucks in right behind. As Nancy mentioned, she thought the track would even out a little bit as the as the day progressed. So you might be able to come from a little bit off the pace a little bit later on in the card. And I just think Magic Tap just so consistent. Doesn't matter if the horse is coming off a layoff or not. It's going to run each and every time out. This is a horse that just kind of does everything right. And the thing that's interesting is it's lightly raced. A 4-year-old with just 7 lifetime starts, but it's always spaced out each and every time and just seems to step up in these big races and makes more than enough money for them.
Yeah. Boy, this is a really fun race. I mean, you look at this race, it's almost like, I mean, honestly, you've heard this before, but like anybody can win this race. I mean, honestly, these are all really nice horses here. So it's going to be a fun race. I tell you what, the late pick 5 is going to be, it's going to be awesome. So here we are, boys. The big one, the Rebel Stakes. Am I reading the purse structure correct on this? $1.3 million.
$1.3 million.
It's a grade 2. They should probably give it a grade 1 designation soon. Mile and 16 3-year-olds. This is a Kentucky Derby prep for the Arkansas Derby. And based on what you told me, Jim, earlier, I could see why you landed on Carbone. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
I can tell you first, this is the biggest miss line of the day. If this horse goes off at higher than 7-2 in this race, I'll be shocked. But you are definitely not getting 15-1. Carbone was the horse that was the heavy favorite in the Southwest, 9-5 favorite in there. Chased the pace. I don't think like the off track by any means at all. So that's the key. Fast track return. You look at the first 2 races over a fast track, bang up performances. Showed speed in each, ran away in both of those races. The mile race and the short stretch. I think this horse was just starting to extend his stride when they hit the wire in the short stretch there. You come back in that last start out again. I don't think they like the slop. Inside draw in a race that really, aside from Northern Flame coming out of the 2-hole, you're not going to face a whole lot of pace pressure from the inside. So I think the horse should be able to get away in good order and clear that lead. And if that's the case, I don't know if anybody's going to go with Carbone. I think they might be able to back it down a little bit on the front end and just play a game and catch me if you can.
Wow, yeah, that's Marco. You were on this horse last time in the Southwest, and
I was on him. Yeah, I was on him. I was on him both times he ran at Oaklawn. I was a little disappointed in the last, but yeah, I mean, he didn't fire and he didn't like the slop.
And Mr. Dan just ran off the screen.
I got off of him. So,
well, tell us about your 10 horse.
Well, Mina. I don't know if you guys know about Mina, Arkansas, but
I do. I've been there.
If you look, Mina, this horse was claimed for $30,000 this fall, and you guys seen it. A claimer winning big stakes races. They just maybe haven't, popped yet or ran their best racing. But this horse is, I mean, you throw out like that synthetic race. And you throw out that debut sprinting, I mean, you got 2 wins and a second, and lost Northern Flame here by, a neck in the mile. We're getting more distance today where this guy's 2 for 2. I like it. I like the odds. He's going to have to improve, yes. But I think, he could definitely be kind of like, Carbone's going to be the pace setter. So, this one could, if he could just sit like underneath Carbone and just try to get like first run on him, this is going to be his shot. If he's too far back, it's not going to be able to do anything. And then we're going to see, how good Carbone is on the front end, and see if Mina can improve and, win it at a big price.
Okay. I landed on Dematic, the 6. It's Asmussen Gaffleone. I like this runner. I think it's coming into its own here. They put the hood on it. It is a full brother to Dreamlike, who's a multiple stakes winner. And I think I'm going to get a perfect trip here behind some of the speed. Now, my hope, Jim, is that there's a cheapie in here. Where is it? The 4. Oh, well, I'm calling Pete Miller's horse a cheapie. Pete Miller, he trains for speed, and
yep.
I would hope that he would try and gun this horse out and butt heads with Carbone a little bit and try and get the front, because I don't think this horse can win from off the pace. I think the only way he can win is if he gets the front. So that's my hope there. And then I get a perfect trip with the 6 here and get a nice little setup and just keep improving as a racehorse. It's a gun runner out of a Tappet. I think longer the better, and the more races it gets under its belt, the better. And Asmussen's been winning everything here. And Asmussen's been winning with price horses. So 8-1 would not shock me here with Dematic. And then my backup is Jim, your backup as well. I went with Just Steel just because I find this colt to be a really gutty runner for the coach. I picked this horse in both the Smarty Jones and the Southwest, and both times he ran second for me. I couldn't put him on top just because I feel like, is he distance limited? Is he's a gutty horse? Is he going to be a poor man's Lionheart where he's going to be in the mix, but then he's not going to win at the optimum distance? I don't know, but the resume looks pretty good. The company lines look good. Catching Freedom came back and ran third in the Risen Star. So, and we know what Mystic Dan did, romped with a 101 buyer speed figure in that Southwest. I think we got that covered. Anything else to add with this? I mean, is there anybody else? I think, a lot of money on the line, a lot of points on the line. This is a hell of a race.
It's going to be fun.
I think 6-5 is a bad price on Timberlake. I mean, that's really short in what is a pretty accomplished field. So I'd try to beat the favorite in there.
Yeah, and that's obvious from our picks. None of us really. I guess if I had to pick a horse third, I would probably do that. I'd throw him third. I'll have him maybe, but honestly, maybe I try and beat him in the trifecta and just throw him completely off. And then if we do that, big balloons. So
yeah, anything can happen here. Look, I mean, there's a lot of nice runners. I mean,
well, Fierceness came back and ran a clunker down in Florida.
Yep.
And this one's been off for a while. It's never run here. It's never worked here. And I don't really particularly like that. So we'll see if that one will show up or not. All right. So that's the Rebel. That's going to be an exciting race. Our nightcap is a maiden special weight going 2 turns for 3-year-olds. So we're going to have a potential superstar in here. You never know. Jim, me and you both like the 7 and 10. We just got them flip-flopped. Why don't you start us off with the 7? Crushed it.
I mean, there's 2 Triple Crown nominated horses in this race. Those are the 2 horses that are the Triple Crown horses. Price-wise, Thousand Springs, and we'll get to that one because I want to let you talk about that one. Mm-hmm. The switch to Christian Torres is, I think, the deciding difference for Crush It. I think that's all it's going to take. This is a horse that ran solid in each of its first 2 starts. Really no excuse in their last out either. But Torres in the saddle today, second start with Lasix. The horse is going to be a heavy favorite. I think a deserving favorite as well. But this is a horse that on paper looks to be lengths better than the rest of the field. And I just think this horse goes out there, makes the top, and never looks back.
Yeah, for me, Thousand Springs was it got the rail in both its lifetime starts.
Yes.
And it finally gets off the rail. You look at the debut run, it ran against a horse named Doncho. I mean, this thing's got double back-to-back 94 buyer speed figures, won by 5 and 4. Who knows what kind of a superstar that horse is? And then it lost, it got crushed against my Rebel horse that I just talked about. So getting off the rail, exiting stakes horses. I mean, there's probably stakes horses in here too. Maybe it's Crushed It because Crushed It just missed. But I only got to contend with one here, and it's probably Crushed It. And I just can't see Thousand Springs running poorly 3 times in a row here. I think this one's going to improve. It ran better on a fast strip in debut. It was sloppy last time. I think stretching out on a fast strip and getting away from Dematic and Doncho kind of spells a much better effort. That's my opinion there. Marco, you're 7.
Yeah, I'm on the same.
Is the same as Jim's. Did you want to add anything to that? And then you guys can talk about.
So I don't really need to add anything. I mean, the horse more than likely is going to crush this field. So that's what I'm thinking of having. And I don't like to pick 1-to-1 shots, ever. But I mean, I think this is like one of those where you just, you ain't gonna beat this horse. If you do, you do. But I'm not gonna.
Well,
Even try.
I personally think it's going to lose by a neck and finish second.
Hey, you never know. It just looks like the man, amongst boys here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, third time might be a charm. I'll give you that. Jim, your backup was the same as mine. Okay, so I touched on a lot of it. Did you want to piggyback on anything?
Same reason you said, just the inside post. This is a horse that may not have liked it. The other thing about Oaklawn that you watch, they're different from some other tracks. They load them one at a time. So you go in there, one horse, you're standing there forever. I mean, Hawthorne, we go 2 by 2 the whole way through and get them in and out a little bit more quickly. That's a little daunting for a young racehorse. When you're in the one hole standing there forever, you can get flat-footed. You can run your race before you even get out of the gate. So I think moving to the 10 hole is a plus for this horse. I think at 12-1, especially if you can get that, I would use it in all of my gimmicks.
Okay, very good. Well, I thought this was a very successful show, guys. Jim, do you have a favorite play? I think you might have touched on one. You said you have one that you really want to wager.
Well, and it's crazy to say it's in an Arkansas-bred maiden race. Race 7-3, Linny May would be my play of the day. If I can get 5-1, I'll be very happy.
Linny May. Okay. I'm really excited about Havana in race 3, the firster. I just got a good feeling out of the Mike Maker barn. It's 12-1. I like the work tab. I like the post. I think we might send from that inside 2-hole and keep going. Marco, do you have anything that you really like a lot?
I like the 6. I believe it was the 6 in race 6, 10-1. Yeah, Poulter. I really like this horse at these odds. I honestly don't think it's going to be 10-1. I think people are going to bet this horse. It's just my opinion. But if you get 10-1, great.
Okay. Jim, I know you're getting ready for the meet. We're excited about Hawthorne too. So look for us to send a couple up there. We got D. Polis. We got Manny Perez. We also got my brother Danny, who's a new trainer now. So we'll see if he wants to do anything and maybe come up and should he call you for some stalls, or who do we
give him my number? We'll get him stalls. And hey, Steve, am I going to see you at the NHC? I'm going out there this year.
Heck yeah, I'm double qualified and locked and loaded.
Excellent. So, I'll see you out there. I'll be in Vegas, so I'm looking forward to that too.
All right.
And Marco will be out there too. And
I'm not in, but I'm coming. I'm coming, but I'm not in yet.
And Frank Mustari is doing dinner for us on Wednesday night. Yes. So maybe we'll get you in on the dinner. Okay, guys. Well, hey, thanks, Jim. Thanks for joining me. I thought this was a successful show. We gave out a lot of good content. And for everybody out there, like and subscribe. I'll share it on Twitter, Jim. And if you want to share it with some people, by all means, do that.
I will for sure, guys. Thanks again for having me. And hopefully I can join you again down the road.
All right. Marco, what do we say? How do we end our show?
All right. Good night, guys. Let's cash some tickets.
Let's cash some tickets. See you later, everybody.